In chapter 8, we saw what God becoming flesh means for our flesh, but we left out an important detail. How? How did the incarnation take place? How did God become man? The Creed tells us Jesus was incarnate of the Holy Spirit and the Virgin Mary. Now, did you notice the conjunction? The Spirit and Mary? As miraculous and as impossible as the incarnation was, it wasn't something that God did on his own. He could have, but he didn't. When God became man, both God and man, or a young woman, had roles to play. But you know, the incarnation didn't stop with Mary. Paul wrote to the Galatians, "I am in the anguish of childbirth until Christ is formed in you." That has to be one of the most amazing scriptures in all of the New Testament. Christ can be formed in you and in me, not in exactly the same way he was formed in Mary, but in a way that is just as powerful and just as real. But here's the catch. Just like God could have become man on his own, but he didn't, he could make us develop in his character without our involvement, but he won't. There's an and there, a synergy between you and God called grace. This is my son, Peter. And at 3.5 months old, he's the biggest influence on chapter 9. See, I was in the middle of writing the chapter when I learned that Peter was on the way. Now, writing about the incarnation is one thing. Experiencing it for yourself, that's something else. I was there the day we first heard Peter's heartbeat. I was there the day we learned he was a boy. And of course, I was there the day he was born. And each of those days and every day in between, it struck me how much of a process growth is. Everything about our lives changed when we learned Jackie was pregnant. We rearranged our home and our finances. We started going to classes at the hospital and reading parenting books. You know, Jackie, she even gave up coffee. And if you knew her, you know what a sacrifice that is. See, everything about our lives changed because another life was developing on the inside. Sometimes we hear things like Christ is formed in you or Christ in you, the hope of glory, and we think our lives can remain the same. But that's not how new life works. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mark, you're talking about earning your salvation. No, I'm not. See, Jackie and I didn't go to classes or read books or change our lifestyle to earn this guy's favor. We did all these things to learn how to cultivate the life on the inside. And see, this is the genius of the early church. They knew how to cooperate with grace, how to cultivate the life of Christ. Which brings us to the quote from Leo the Great at the beginning of the chapter. Obtain through grace what you have not by nature. Another way of saying that is we can be by grace what Christ is by nature. We develop in his character, which we don't have on our own, and we do it through grace. That's incredible, but it's not automatic. We have to cooperate with grace. The Spirit and Mary, the Spirit and you. You know, you may be able to tell, chapter 9 is my favorite chapter. For me, the virgin birth is something, well, it's something to live up to. I want Christ to be formed in me. I want him to be formed in Peter. And I want him to be formed in you. That's why I wrote this book, and it's why I keep coming back to the Nicene Creed. Whenever I say it, whenever I remind myself of all I believe, it cultivates that new life developing on on the inside.